It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, April the 24th, 2019, and I am standing in the middle of the Riverwalk, in the middle of downtown, beautiful, historic Savannah, Georgia. And if you guys didn't already know this, I actually have a little bit of a personal history here. When I was 30 years old, in late May, I came out here and worked a full summer just working for tips, mostly right out here by the stage as a caricature artist. But right now I want to do something that I haven't done in a while, and that is I want to give you guys a little bit of a story time, something that happened to me during that summer, right about right here where I'm standing. I think I was sitting somewhere right here. I don't think those steps were there. But this was on a particularly hot day in the middle of the summer. And it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and tied up to this dock right here. You can't really see it. Here, let me get a little closer. There's the dock. See, there's a dock out there. So tied up to that dock was a very expensive yacht. And there was some, regular staff working the yacht. They looked like caterers. They had the collared shirts and everything. And somewhere around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the person that had either owned the yacht or was renting it finally woke up, and he looked like a pudgy, kind of uppity dad with sleep still in his eyes and khaki shorts. Just kind of pulled himself up and came out to the top of the yacht. And he had a Segway with him. And now a Segway is a lot like those hoverboards, except for they have like this really awkward looking handle that you have to lean forward to go forward and lean back to stop. They've gone completely out of style now. They were very nerdy at the time. But he had one. You could tell he hadn't used it before. He was just getting the feel of it. So to get the feel of a Segway for the first time, he was trying to get it off of the boat, down the gangplank, onto this dock, then up the dock onto the Riverwalk. So he finally gets it up here. And about the time he comes up to the dock, there was a whole tour that came by, and they were all on Segways. And he was just like, oh, isn't this the weirdest coincidence? Here I am on a Segway, and there's a tour of all Segways. I want to join the tour. Well, the tour guide let him know that he couldn't just jump in the tour at any point. He had to go to the office and register. But he didn't want to hear that. He thought the rules didn't apply to him. He had a Segway, they have Segways, he wanted to join the tour, and he wanted to make it happen. So he starts arguing with the tour guide. Now, the entire time that he's arguing with the tour guide, there's a little girl that's maybe 4 or 5 years old on the yacht as well. And you can tell it's her mom there trying to comfort her. And she just keeps wailing and screaming, red-faced, getting louder and louder. And the mom was just perplexed. I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know why she's crying. So he's arguing with the tour guide. This child is crying and crying. And I'm sitting over here drawing caricatures, or at least waiting for the next customer. And you got to remember, at the time I was living out of the back of my truck. I would quite literally go to the dock and fish for dinner. Yeah, I wasn't fishing for fun at the time. I would go and fish because I wanted something to eat. That's what kind of state I was in. It was a very relaxing time, as I can remember. I mean, I slept in every day. Didn't have a whole lot of responsibility. But that was the state I was in. And I'm watching this guy that is apparently a millionaire with a yacht tied up to Savannah's Riverwalk, which just tying that yacht to Savannah's Riverwalk is a few $1,000s, not to mention either renting or owning this yacht. So this guy's a millionaire. And he is all stressed out, arguing, red-faced. His kid is screaming at him, and he's having a terrible, terrible time. finally, when they got the little girl off the boat, and she came over and tried to stand on the Segway and push it. Of course, her arms were way up here just to hold the handlebars. There's no way she could actually push this Segway and get it to move. But that's all she really wanted, is to get on it and try. But she didn't have the verbal abilities to let them know that's what she wanted. Instead, she was just screaming louder and louder. Anyway, eventually they made their way out into Savanna to go have a look around. And while they were gone, the staff was preparing some kind of party for them. And they were doing their best to make everything look good, but the ice kept melting, and they had like balloons that they had put out. And the balloons were tied to the different rails, and they kept popping because the rails would get so hot that it would melt the plastic on the balloon, the rubber on the balloon, and they would pop. So they kept refilling the balloons, and then by the time the dad finally made it back, there was like 1 or 2 saggy balloons still left, and they were just pelted by that Savanna sun in the middle of the summer. They were having a terrible time. And I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing to be a homeless person and to be relaxed and not have a whole lot of responsibility, and just kind of sit there and look at a millionaire having a miserable time and just kind of almost feel sorry for him. It was a very surreal day at the time. It was. But that all happened right here. I was right here drawing caricatures. That yacht was tied up right there. And that's all I got. That's all for the story. Hope you guys enjoyed it.